So, new season, noticeable increase in general visual quality. I'm wondering if it's that director thing again. I just keep wondering about that. Given the fact that the Quarrens have always been more militant and more aggressive, and the Mon Cal more peaceful and democratic, why are the Mon Calamarians dominant? Now, I actually have my own theory on the matter, regardless of the whole EU backstory thing, and that's that the fact that the Mon Calamarians recognized the value of having extraplanetary allies. Thus, they're in the lead in their own people because they're being backed by the Republic. Which, funnily enough, also helps to explain why the Republic is getting militarily involved in this situation, even ignoring the Separatists. Which, speaking of which, I wish this was just a succession crisis civil war. I know that sounds weird, but I wish the Separatists weren't actually involved in this. It would actually be nice to just have this little side plot where there's no evil separatist. I mean, he's even a shark, for God's sakes. And there's no big, ha ha ha, I'm evil because I'm evil. Evil, evil, evil. And instead having something where this is an honest-to-God division between the Mon Calamarians and the Quarrens, who have never really historically gotten along all that well anyways. Right? I mean, this seems like a good time to break away from the Republic. Right? We already have people breaking away from the Republic who aren't the Separatists. Anywho. It was nice to see that the leader of the Quarren was actually a reasonable person, too. Rather than, I'm incredibly evil. There were actually layers to him that were basically political. Like, look, okay, obviously I'm being backed by the Separatists, but I don't, I'm not cool with being evil, okay? I'm dabbling in evil. It's like a Sunday thing for me. Consequently, it was also nice to see the Mon Calamarians being unreasonable. We had the Senator, who was just laughable. We had several people who were like, ha, we have to do this, and we must do this, and this is the way that must happen. Tradition! To the point of stupidity. The only Mon Calamarian who showed himself as having a brain, that's not fair. The only two Mon Cals who are actually showing themselves as having a brain in this episode were Akbar, because he's Akbar, and the Prince, Li Sha or Li Shi or something like that, I can't remember his name. I mention this, by the way, because one of the things I've always liked about Akbar is, even though he had functionally no real presence in the movies, in the EU he was always fleshed out to be far more of an interesting and, frankly, engaging character. And I like that. I mean, he was flawed, but he was competent, and he was smart, and I don't know, I like Akbar, I always have. So it was good to see him here, and basically see him towing the line. We can't attack until the Prince says to attack! Prince, now would be a good time to say to attack. Very pragmatic, and I like that. The underwater visuals are great. I already mentioned that. It brings to mind the idea of, like, anybody ever play Homeworld, or any of the Homeworld games? I'm actually a huge fan of the Homeworld series myself. Imagine a Homeworld, like full 3D, but set underwater. Doesn't that sound cool? Maybe that could be a new Homeworld sequel. But anyways, I thought that whole thing was awesome. I also like the way they showcased the Jedi, mostly with Anakin. Kit Fisto was there, of course, and Kit Fisto is always as ever. But I love the way that Anakin is basically a glass cannon. He can match, point for point, anything the Quarrens or the Separatists got underwater. He can take down any of them with ease. But the moment he loses his ability to breathe underwater, he's screwed. We almost saw the death of Darth Vader in this episode. I mean, obviously that's not going to happen, but you get my point. Anyways, I liked the underwater battle droids. Cool visuals. I know I've said that before. Here's an interesting question for you. This is kind of off topic of the episode in general, but this is something that's going to be coming up more, especially in Season 4, if memory serves. This is something I've heard Star Wars fans debate for literally years now. It's one of those questions that nobody seems to agree on, but people like to debate and argue about. So, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, as I always would. Do you think the Separatists should have won this war? Now, obviously Palpatine was behind the scenes manipulating things to ensure that the Republic basically came out on head, because that's the organization he wanted to win the war. But if Palpatine was not involved, if there was no manipulation, if it was literally just the Separatists versus the Republic, let's remove Palpatine, probably remove Dooku from the equation as well. Who do you think should have won that war? And I mention that because in several cases the Separatists really do seem to be just better equipped, better prepared, and more, I hate to use this word, but progressive. That's actually a bad word. I think I'm going to change that to the word adaptable. I think they're more capable of saying, oh, we need to do this now, and then doing that. Whereas so many times we see that the Republic or the Republic-aligned races or people or governance or functions are all like, well, we got to fill out form 336AB, and then we got to do this, and we got to talk to this one guy. He's the only guy who could approve this. Just food for thought. Anyways, hope you've enjoyed. See you next time.